You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
With the emergence of global internet, a human population of several billions, an electronic noosphere, that we are now within the shadow of this transcendental object at the end of time.
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter is going to be, because
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Shake and bake, steps back, three-pointer, bang!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another wonderful episode of the Midnight Variety Hour. I am very happy to be here. I think Adam is very happy to be here. We are, as always, your guides and leaders through the cosmos as we talk to people from all around the universe and blast off through the nebula into conversation.
I love that.
Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and happy to have Jesus in today, which I actually just met 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to talk to him, get to know this guy. So it's pretty fun.
Jesus and I have been talking about doing this for a couple of weeks. We are co-workers and have become friends, and I really enjoy everything that this man has to say and the inner workings of his mind. So, Mr. Jesus Garcia, welcome to the Midnight Variety Hour.
Thank you for having me.
How is it to
Don.
be here?
It's good.
Good. Yeah, you are doing your first podcast, you said.
First
I know it's
podcast.
kind of like a weird thing. It was weird for me when we did our first episode. I still don't like hearing myself in the headphones. So
This does feel weird.
It's
Very weird.
and after we talk for like an hour, when you take the headphones off and hear yourself normally again, it's going to feel strange too. But welcome to the show. You mentioned that you'd listened to one episode before, so just for the listeners at home, as always, we want to talk to people that we know in our lives or people that we don't know that we invite to come on the show that have interesting passions or jobs or hobbies or takes on the world, whatever, and we bring them into the studio and we just have a cool, really relaxed conversation. And I really wanted to talk to you because you majored in and graduated with a degree in industrial design. And I think that is fucking amazing. I think that's super cool. It's something that I wish I had the wherewithal to do. I've seen your sketches. I've seen, like some of your welds and some of your woodworking, and I think it's amazing. So I really wanted to ask you, what got you into design?
Dude, ever since I was little, man, just working with my dad.
Yeah.
He started off with metal bending and just, welding.
Yeah.
Anything that had to do with metal, I was with him since I was little.
Yeah.
Kind of taught me a lot. He actually taught me how to weld, and that was nerve-wracking because he was like,
Yeah.
he has a different teaching method.
Yeah.
He's just do it. I was
do
like,
it.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
So
That's how my
It
dad
was-
was. My dad was the kind of like throw you in the pool and tell you to swim kind of
yeah,
guy.
yeah. So that was like, it was fun. It was nerve-wracking at first when you first start, trying to learn something new.
Yeah.
But other than that, it started to develop into like, okay, what can I make though? Like, I know that this is how things get made, but what can I design? So you take that, skill and you apply it to something creatively.
Yeah, I mean, that's something like I'm shit at making stuff. I can't fucking draw. I feel like I'm like not good with my hands. So it would be cool to just like try my hand at some design stuff and like work my way up at it. But have you ever done anything like building anything, Adam? Have you ever?
Yeah, I've done a few things like art projects and.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
Well, like
some
so,
of
I've
your...
taken art classes since middle school. Like
Right.
that, whenever you select your electives, you have an option like do sports or art or dance or whatever. And I was always art. Like I was just like, I don't know why. Since a little kid, I think we talked on the last episode actually. Like I would start off sketching anime and stuff like that, and then I was like, I just like to draw, so I just wanted to go in any art class. So I've done various projects like building things with glue and wood and stuff, but never to the point where like welding or like making big frames for anything or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it would interesting you say design and you're not good with your hands or anything, but like
I'm not.
with design in general, there's so many different niches of design where you can probably find something, even if it's just designing something on a computer or a program. You know what I mean? So it's like, so if you ever want to get interested in something like that, definitely try something.
Okay.
Where you
Yeah, I'm sure I could find some way to learn. And it's interesting that you mentioned like computer stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a wild time to be in design because there's all this software, 3D printers are taking off. Like I feel like, and they're not even that expensive anymore,
They're
right?
not,
Like your
no.
average person could acquire a 3D printer.
Yeah,
and,
they're like maybe $100 for something that's
And-
like fairly small and fits like maybe in this desk.
and you have some 3D printers of your own, right?
Yeah, I have a few. I have three 3D printers right now.
How do they even work? Like, how does a 3D printer function?
So first you got to start off with an STL file. And this is, let's say you wanted to design this cup, right? You would take it into, say, SolidWorks or Rhino.
Some sort of software, design software, yeah.
So then you'll sculpt it out, you'll take this file, and you turn it into an STL. And what it does, it actually breaks it down into layers. So then you'll take that file, throw it into a slicer, and it slices everything, once again, into layers in the way that it's going to be 3D printed, right? So some designs need support, some of them don't. Depending on, like, let's say, for instance, this model again, it wouldn't need any supports whatsoever. So once you start, you kind of lay down some glue. There's different applications. You can use a hotbed. You can even use a tempered glass. And that actually helps with, like, it cementing onto it a little bit better. And so it just continues, and once it's done, you can actually just print it off. But
so you can use a various different amount of, like, materials in the 3D printer.
Yeah, so I think I was talking to you last time where you can use PLA, TPU, and these materials are, like, sometimes made out of potato starch. And so it's really,
Yeah,
so
I've seen those.
So it's really interesting once you kind of dive into, like, okay, what material can you use? There's actually a few that take in, like, metal shavings or, like, sawdust. They throw it in there into the PLA, and you can make like wood products out of it.
It sounds like it's kind of sustainable. You can use a lot of materials that have been repurposed and things like that.
Yeah. So any like felled prints, you can actually throw them into a grinder or a blender. There's machines that actually take them and remelt them into, like, that thin spool, you know. And you can reuse those on your printer.
Nice, dude.
So if no one's ever seen a 3D printing, like, in action, like, while you're there watching it, I know you've probably seen videos and stuff of it, but, like,
I've seen
watching
a few videos,
like, watching it actually happen, like, right in front of you is almost like the first time I saw it was like almost like a miracle. I was like, how the fuck is this happening?
It looks
dude?
like the fucking future.
Yeah, dude. It's just like you see this thing being created in front of you, almost like it's about to come to life. You know what I mean? It's so weird to watch. And also, if I saw 3D printing of houses. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that.
Yes.
Have you ever seen those?
Yes, the ones with cement.
Dude, these giant machines that are able to, like, 3D print a house out of, like, some type of material, whether, like, some type of cement or something. And it's incredible to watch. But, like,
It sounded like you said semen.
Sorry, not semen. That would be weird.
Cement. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you could build some shit out of semen, maybe.
But it's crazy to watch, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess your only limitation is, like, the size of the printer or, like, the printing bay.
That's
so you
pretty
could
much
print, as long as you have a big enough printer, you could pretty much build a house or whatever the fuck you want.
I mean, you can print a car if you wanted to. Find a file.
Yeah, and I've heard, like, a lot of people in, like, the security field and, you know, national defense are really worried about people 3D printing weapons and guns,
that too.
because that's a thing. That is insane, you know. And Childish Gambino has a lyric, and he says that anybody could 3D print a, what does he say? Something about anyone could just print a 3D printed gun and walk into a Denny's and just, like, fucking kill somebody, you know. And it's just crazy that that's the world we're living in now, man. You can just
What's the next step after 3D printing? What is?
I don't know, man.
Well, I know they're able to, like, not print but, like, grow organs.
Yeah, I know.
Can you, like,
talking about
growing
organ
organs.
scaffolding? Yes. Yeah.
But I mean, that's like growing, like, growing a kidney in a petri dish. That's a completely different process. I don't even
But it's
know
like the idea. It was like the idea of, like, being able to create something almost out of, like, nothing. Like, I mean, obviously you're starting off with a bed and a little machine, and you just put in something, and it creates something out of nothing. Like, you can create literally. Your imagination is the limit to what you can create with the 3D printer or something, anything like that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's what I was thinking. Like, what is next? Like, what can you just create with some kind of tool out of nothing? You know, it's
I mean,
weird.
you could 3D print clothes, right? I mean, anything like that.
So any type of fabrics. I mean, there's bendy plastic, there's hard. I mean, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people printing out shoes right now, and they're
I've heard about this. Yeah.
Or an idea that I've talked about with friends. It's like, what if you can just go to a shoe shop, right? They take the measurement of your foot and able to print it out for you, like, right then and there, and that's, like, the next level of you know, building or making shoes or, like, products like customizable to you, to, like, that person.
So it's like, fuck Dr. Scholl's, you know, like, you could have a whole shoe perfectly tailored. And you're really big on, like, the shoes that you wear. Adam wears a lot of those, like, barefoot shoes.
Oh,
where it's like shoes that are really tailored to be as close to a barefoot experience as possible. Dude, imagine if you could have a 3D printed shoe perfectly tailored to, like, your foot.
Yeah, I mean, I automatically think of, like, NBA players and
Dude, yeah.
any type of sport player who needs a custom fit shoe for them.
These guys that
And
have like
then-
size 19 feet.
Yeah, I mean even that, but like and also the fact that like arches, no arches, and then like how wide is your toe
Yeah.
splays, and all those little things that can really help if you have a custom fit shoe for you on the court or the field or wherever. And so yeah, I can see that, especially with any. I mean, there's so many applications for that, and I can just imagine a store like you walk into a store, anything you want that they can possibly make or have the materials for, you can get. Like that's pretty cool to think
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
No, it really is. It's fucking nuts. What's something that if you could just make anything right now, like sky's the fucking limit, what would be something, or if you wanted to go into business 3D printing something or creating, like what would it be?
Oh man, that's.
Would you want to go like down the route of shoes, or would you want to go down the route of, something everyday applicable, or like what?
Okay. Yeah, something much more
Yeah.
applicable
Yeah.
to like everyday life.
Mhm.
I think. I mean, my interests are more in human-centered design. So like
Okay.
anything that can help like a person live their life a little better every day.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. So if it's through 3D printing, me having a business and it allows me to do that, okay, great.
Yeah.
If it's furniture design for like people who have mobility issues, better.
Sure.
So stuff like that.
That's another thing. Like, it really opens the door for your average everyday person to become a creator and an innovator and a pioneer, where it was usually like, you were relying on companies to create like, the next biggest thing, or like, you needed to have a design firm behind you to put, together sketches for something. Now, your average person who has a 3D printer and some software can really try and come up with some innovations or, some sort of invention. And I mean, that's crazy to me that we're just living in this future time where that's fucking possible.
Yeah, it is. And now more than ever, like we have so many resources available to us that others didn't in the past. I have a question for you that I was thinking about, and I've thought about it before. Where do you think, okay, so we're just talking about creation. I was looking through your Instagram. It seems like you're really interested. We talked about it earlier, but on many different topics, and like you seem like you have a wide array of like kind of hobbies and things you look like you're interested in.
Right.
And just like the idea of like creating something, like the idea of creation, like where do you think those, obviously you're inspired by different things and different people, but where do you think those like thoughts come from? Because like everything we see in front of us was once like a thought or an idea. This camera, this desk, everything, right? Your glasses, your shoes, like that was once in somebody's head, and they're like, oh, I bet I can make that.
Yeah.
Like where do you think that comes from?
I think that comes from a need, man. Like it has to come from like wanting something
Necessity.
so bad. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a really good quote from like Henry Ford where like if I would have asked people like how to go from point A to point B, they would say a faster horse.
Right.
Like they wouldn't have thought about like having this car with an engine with 4 wheels and trying to go further. Because I think it's just necessity. I think people just want, what else can I do? What can I create? What can I make this better?
Right.
So like these cameras used to be just color, no color whatsoever, just black and white, and eventually it came
On
out
film.
on film. Yeah. And now you can record everything through your phone. You know, what would be the next thing?
Digitally in your pocket, yeah.
Having a microchip and like implanted into the side of your eye and just record it and stow it away.
No, I know, seriously. I mean, like eventually we're going there. I mean, they already tried with like Google Glass, and like they're trying to implement screens and connectivity to something as simple as your face. You know what I mean? So do you feel like as a designer and an industrial designer, do you find yourself just like going about your life just looking at shit like that could be designed better? Like that's stupid the way that is right now. Yeah.
I'm always looking for problems and can they be fixed?
I think you mentioned cars one time.
Cars was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I dived deep into that one.
Well, I know one thing I was talking about with Jesus is like I hate license plate placement on cars and how it always seems like an afterthought. Like they'll design this beautiful fucking car and then they'll just be a fucking square cut out and stick the fucking plate on there, and I think it looks so dumb.
Yeah.
And I know you were talking more about like the actual nature of cars and like the way they're structured and designed. So like what are some other things, if you have other things, like what are some other things that you've thought of that could just be designed better? Or what are some things that you've seen and thought to yourself like I have some design ideas for that?
Design ideas, maybe when it comes to like the exhaust, like you and I were talking about.
Yeah.
Because the silhouette or the design doesn't really follow all the way through. Like there's no continuity.
Right.
Sometimes manufacturers just tend to fake it. Really, you can see that it's like a box, but you can still see the tailpipe.
Totally.
coming
Such a
out,
pet peeve.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
especially on like those cars that aren't necessarily luxury brands, but they're trying to look a bit more upscale. Like
I know Dodge does it, and a few other ones do.
Yeah.
and it'll be like they'll have this really nice design cut out to where it would appear the exhaust is coming out. But if the light catches it, you can see it's just that same fucking exhaust tailpipe piped through that frame. And it's like, how hard would it have been to have actually made the opening fit that silhouette, you know? I don't know. I just feel like stuff like that seems like a no-brainer. Maybe there's a reason there. Is it cost savings?
It probably is. That's what
I'm sure
thinking.
the most of the time when you see something and you think to yourself, like, that could be designed so much better, it's probably because it's designed that way because it's cheap, right?
Yeah. That's exactly
What
it.
about the seat belts? Like it protects you from going front and back, but not left and right.
Yeah.
So
and it's like,
Yeah, that's true.
You're
That's
not
why they
only-
designed the airbags on the side now.
Yeah.
yeah,
side
now they have
curtain
airbags on the side, but still the seatbelt.
But it's like you're not only going to get hit from the back or the front,
Yeah.
like you can get hit on the fucking left or the right. So, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of little things like that.
One thing that I used to find really interesting was cars back in the like late 80s and early 90s. So when airbags started to become more mandatory, you had two options. You could either build your car with airbags, or if you wanted to leave out the airbags, which a lot of manufacturers did because it for some reason made things more complicated for them, you had to install one of those fucking automatic seat belts to where it made it like you had to wear your seatbelt. You might have seen them on some of the older cars.
Yeah, it would like
where like you sit in, you close the door.
Yeah.
Oh, and it would come.
And I just think
okay.
it's so funny that instead of just finding a way to put airbags in the fucking car, they were like, all right, we'll do the mandatory seatbelt thing. We'll do
Right.
the automatic seatbelt thing, which I kind of just like for nostalgia's sake would love to own a car with that stupid fucking automatic seatbelt because I
Yeah.
think it's hilarious. But also it's so fucking insane that they were doing that,
yeah, it is.
you know? But my boss, you didn't meet him when you came in, but he's down the hall. He drives a 1956 Cadillac. Has no fucking airbags.
I was just about to say.
When he
Does it
bought
have brakes?
But
Yeah,
it
it's
is
got-
made of fucking
It's made
metal,
of fucking steel.
iron
Yeah.
metal. Yeah.
It's a sedan, but it's like
Yeah.
6,000 pounds, which weighs, fucking 2,000 pounds more than my pickup truck. And there were lap belts installed into it after the fact. But like
Yeah.
when it was sold originally in 56, it didn't have any fucking belts. There was no fucking airbags. It was
Yeah.
just like you were in this box of metal careening down the street, and whatever happened, fuck it,
Yeah, just going down 70 miles an hour.
And now cars are so unbelievably safe. There's all these like automated safety features, lane departure warnings, lane keep assist, all the way up to autopilot. You have side curtain airbags that wrap around the entire car, submarine motors to where if the car detects a front end collision of enough impact, it will drop the engine out of the bottom so that the engine doesn't get pushed into the cabin and like you don't get in an accident, the engine's in your lap, just fucking killing you. So
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but Elon Musk said the seatbelt is basically pointless now for the amount of support that the airbags give you. Like it's like virtually pointless to even wear a seatbelt now, just because of how safe the airbags have gotten and like how high tech they are now. Where I don't know the whole details of how they come out and everything, but it's like that's
I
insane
feel
to
like
think
you
about,
could
right?
Still go through a windshield.
I know.
if
I'm
you-
just saying that's what
most
he said,
definitely,
but who knows how true Elon. He likes to exaggerate sometimes, but
Yeah, Elon is. What do you think about Elon Musk as a designer yourself and like an innovator? What do you think of this man, Elon Musk?
Damn, there was one point where I was like, yeah, man, this guy is the future.
I think we all were at that point at one time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is the future. He's like pioneering, science. We're gonna be in Mars soon.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be crazy. And I don't know. He just became a meme to me.
He
Eventually.
is a walking meme. Yeah. When he started like just being absurd about the whole Dogecoin thing and just like pushing it so hard and like he was just like so focused on the meminess of Cybertruck rather than like I'm sure he's still super concerned about the real world application, but he's just kind of a fucking goofball to me now,
no, this is how I see him as like somebody who has way too much money to know what to do with, but is still has like the wherewithal to know like, all right, like it's like he doesn't really care about what's going on in the world too much or what everyone else is doing. He kind of is like, this looks fun, I'm gonna try it and do it. Like he made a flamethrower. He did like there's so many random little things that he did that is just like
the whole
why-
boring company.
Yeah, the boring company.
Yeah.
Why do that? Other than it looks fun and cool to do. That's all. That's what it is, right?
So I want to ask you about the Boring Company. I'm so glad you brought that up because the other day we were talking about it and Aaron was like, "This is fucking stupid." And it does look fucking stupid. So you're way smarter than me. I want to know what you think about this. So obviously, for people that aren't familiar, Elon Musk went to LA once, or he was, driving around LA. I guess at the time he was living there. Now he lives in Texas. And he was, talking about how awful the traffic thing was and how like horrendous traffic in LA is. I think the average person in LA spends like 2 weeks in traffic. Like, if you totaled up the amount of hours they
I've
sit in
been to
traffic,
LA
it's like,
and I went 3 miles, and it took me I want
probably
to say
like
like
half an hour or something.
2.5 hours.
Oh my god!
I'm not lying. Like we
Yeah.
were literally going 3 miles.
Yeah, it's
I could have walked
Yeah.
Yeah.
half the time. It was insane.
So
Insane.
Elon Musk, in trying to address this issue, pitched the idea of, well, why don't we just go underground? Building more lanes does not solve the problem. So what if we bored under the ground and made tunnels that these cars can travel through? And originally, it seemed as though he was going to design these multi-lane tunnels that could facilitate 5 lanes across traveling under the ground. Now, the tunnels are like the size of barely the width of one car. I mean, a car goes in there and it's almost touching the walls. And I guess it
Yeah.
like clips into a track or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like magnetic.
How is this even like sustainable, boring these giant holes in the ground just to send one car wide? Like,
It's not. I don't think it is. Like that's so much material that's gonna go underneath the ground for no reason.
so another thing I thought of when he was building the tunnels is I was like, okay, maybe trains, like maybe some underground, some sort of like train car traveling through a vacuum, like an electric magnetic train underneath the
right.
ground. But it's not even that. It's
He wants his car
He
to
wants
go
his
underground.
cars.
yes.
I mean,
Because
come
the
on.
thing is, like, obviously the tunnels would be full of emissions. They would be full of smoke. And so, ideally, it would seem from a glance that the best vehicles to travel and utilize these tunnels would be zero emission or electric vehicles. Like what? Teslas.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is this what it is? Like, this is the plan just to, like, some cash grab to make Teslas more beneficial? Or do you think he genuinely has the benefit of the people at heart? And, I mean, like...
Nah, I don't think he does.
Because it used to seem to me like he really gave a fuck about, like, humanity, bettering everyone's life, advancing our species. But now I just feel like... I don't know. It just seems like a money grab to me.
Without a doubt, though, there are some things that he has done that has literally changed the trajectory of, I mean, one, space flight, where being able to land a rocket.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
That
reusable
that
rocket
alone
boosters
changed the
is
way we
huge.
look at space flight or using rockets, like point blank period. And there's other things too, but like there's definitely some things he's done, but then there's others that are super questionable, and this is one of them. Right? Like, it's definitely questionable.
So you would say that you think the Boring Company's tunnels, they don't really make sense.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, I don't
It's just
understand.
ways- yeah, because then it just becomes proprietary. Like you can only be able to use his cars.
Yeah.
To get from point A to
Because
point
there's
B.
no way you're using a fucking diesel truck in that tunnel.
Yeah. No.
You're just not.
Or even like your
well,
boss's
no.
car.
Here's
like,
the
how
thing,
safe
though.
is that
No,
gonna
but
be?
like the way he was gonna transport the cars underground, though, the cars wouldn't be on.
So
You wouldn't be driving.
You turn your car off. The car clips into like a track, and
Yeah,
then,
you would be clipped into like a track or something, and you would be shot across using like magnetic like rails. So
Well,
like,
how do you decide when you want to get out of the tunnel?
so
Like,
I don't know the detail. All I'm saying is like it's not like you would be like literally driving using your engine to get to somewhere. There would be another system that transports your car like in a much faster way. Like it's supposed to be like vacuum sealed kind of thing where it literally just shoots you like extremely fast. You're moving like hundreds of miles per hour through this track system. So like the idea was to get you into this tunnel, shoot you extremely fast from point A to point B without you ever having to touch a road. So it's like that idea, yeah, it does seem really nice, but like when you start to talk about hundreds of thousands of cars trying to use this every day, then it starts to seem like, okay, how is it sustainable? It does work, like theoretically, if you're talking about, X amount of cars like going and using it every day, yeah, it would work. But when you start to talk about hundreds of thousands of people trying to use this thing every day, then it's like, how is that even possible? That's really where it comes to.
what
so
happens
that's where
if someone? What happens if there's a fucking malfunction down there? How does anyone even get
Yeah,
down
someone
there to
has a
help
heart
you?
I don't
attack
know,
on
but
the-
like,
Yeah.
here's the thing: is like when we start talking about like transportation, is like when we talk about public transportation. I mean, trains. You look at how the EU does it. You have these super fast rail trains that are going, from country to country in a couple hours. Like that seems. I mean, that's already happening right now, and people are doing it with extreme efficiency.
Yeah,
And
trains
so-
are fucking.
So like, I mean,
Great.
you have that option already. Like, why not establish something where it can be public transportation? You don't have to own a car. You can still get from point A to point B in the faster, without touching a road, traffic, anything like that, and still build it in a way that doesn't get in the way of any type of, construction and whatever. So it's like, there's so many other options. Why this one? That's really what it is.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
What do you see as the future for travel and travel infrastructure? I mean, should we pursue building a network of high speed like bullet trains here in America?
Yes.
I
So,
feel like
I'm
I've been
down
saying
for
this shit
public
for so long.
transportation.
Dude, you look at the speed trains, the bullet trains that they have in Japan. Trains that are just traveling up and down Japan at a speed of like 180 miles an hour, sometimes 200 miles an hour, I think. And it just feels like we're getting left in the Stone Ages in America when it comes to innovations in infrastructure and transport. I don't understand why they feel the need to like reinvent the fucking wheel. It's not that fucking hard. Trains work, dude. Like trains are fucking great. Public transportation, if it can be optimized, is amazing. One of the things that I really would change about Houston, if I could, is our public transportation system sucks. It is a pain to get around the
It's got to
city.
be one of the worst in the country.
You
for
must
sure.
own a car to go anywhere here in any reasonable amount of time. When they built the Metro Light Rail, I was excited and I was optimistic. I've never even I've ridden it like
I've
once.
gone on it one time.
Yeah, and that was probably only because you like lived down by the med center and it was right. Like,
I honestly forgot why. I even
was it to
used
school or something? Yeah,
No, I
mean-
went to a football game. I went to NRG.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, if
So-
you're doing that, yeah.
But it doesn't take you really anywhere. What really needs to happen is like we need to have a rail system that goes from like that stretches through all of Greater Houston,
Sure,
goes
yeah.
all the way out to the suburbs, and then
That's like in
Yeah.
Chicago. Chicago has trains that go out to the suburbs
Yeah.
and service those areas. You're able to live in the suburbs of Chicago and get to work in the city, in the heart of the city, completely car-free, effortless.
So what we're talking about is like city design. So
Right.
we're on the topic of design and like
Yeah.
creation. Like whenever someone tries to lay out a city and tries to like think about, all right, what's the most efficient way to get people around and move more efficiently?
Yeah.
Do you think about that often? Like the like design of a city?
That comes out a lot, up a lot,
Yeah.
because like I drive from point A to point B, and it's just insane. And why is everything so far?
So far.
Everything is so like I would want to ride my bike to work,
Right.
but first of all, there is no like pathways for a person, just like
Sure.
crosswalks.
Yeah.
Right, there's none of that.
Yeah, I mean the majority of I don't know about the majority, but a good amount of the roads here don't have sidewalks or bike
Yeah.
lanes. So it's
Exactly.
like, what the fuck are you even supposed to do? You know?
So like I would wish that Houston had a better like bike path for people who do want to ride their bikes around the city of Houston.
Yeah.
Just make it a lot more efficient, really.
Yeah, I mean definitely. I feel like I've been to a lot of cities on the East Coast where I've just been visiting there, and I'm thinking to myself, I would not own a car if I lived here. It would be unnecessary. Cayman moved to DC, sold his car. My brother used to live in Chicago, sold his car. I have a bunch of family in New York. A vast majority of them don't have cars just because the city is set up in a way to where you don't need it.
Dude, I was thinking about Houston in specific and how it's such a big oil town. Like, what is the what is the reason for the city as a whole to be like, all right, let's build all of these things whenever, like, why would they want people to stop using their cars if they're making so much money?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
because I was thinking about like the
it is
lobbying,
an oil and gas city. Yeah,
like the lobbying just in general. Like, if you think about how much people are trying to lobby to like keep things the way they are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I bet there's a lot of money being pushed to like, hey, let's keep things the way they are. We want to keep people driving. Just keep expanding those highways.
Right.
Keep people driving.
Yeah.
Keep using gas.
Yeah.
Keep using all this shit that goes into having a car. So it's like, I don't know. Maybe not, but that's something I thought about too as far as Houston goes.
You know what? I'd be down for that if they would fix the roads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
why are the
potholes everywhere.
roads always under construction? Fuck, how many years did it take to fix 290?
Right.
Why is Derry Ashford still a piece of shit? What? It's insane. In a city that is so dominated by cars, you would think they would spend a large quantity of money just making
Dude,
sure the roads
All right,
are...
to go on a quick tangent, I just found out how corrupt Sylvester Turner is, the mayor of Houston.
Oh.
Dude, I just found, because I have this neighbor who lives down the street from me. So funny, this guy. And he's right now currently trying to get this like shop or this like business right down the road to like trying to get their liquor license taken away and get their parking kind of like situation done. Because like he lives like a 5-minute walk from that spot, and so people are parking all the way down his road, being loud late at night and stuff like that. And he's like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm gonna try to. He's like, he's like one of those guys, So, but he's still a really cool guy. I like him a lot, but he's just trying to deal with that problem in the way he knows how. So, anyways, but he told me this story about Sylvester Turner. He was like, look, this is the most corrupt guy like I've ever met in my life, because he's a friend of the owner of that place. So he's been trying to get it shut down and getting pushed back from the city because whatever relationships, right? But he told me this story of basically Sylvester Turner used to be a lawyer back in the day before he ran for mayor, and he went out on this fishing trip. And supposedly one of the guys on the fishing trip fell off the boat and drowned, right? So
I think I heard about
Have you heard this story?
I
didn't.
don't
I
know
never
the
heard
details, but I think that sounds so familiar.
So they get back and they say, yeah, the guy's gone. They sent out helicopters looking for him and everything. Like, couldn't find him. No, he's dead. He's gone. All right, that's it. But turns out they found that guy in jail, in prison in Spain. The guy who supposedly was supposed to die.
Whoa.
Right? So they're like, yo, they go to him. They go to the other guy who's on the boat. And I saw videos of like old Houston like reporters going and like interviewing these people and like saying, hey, what happened? And they're like, so did you know this guy was dead? You were there whenever he supposedly drowned. Like, did you know he was alive? He's like, I had no idea he was alive. They're all obviously lying about it.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, come on. And then it turns out Sylvester, like that guy who drowned or was found in prison in Spain, signed something with Sylvester Turner, because obviously he's a lawyer, helped him sign this document for life insurance, and got like millions of dollars in life insurance sent to either him or his family. So it was this huge scheme that they obviously plotted to come up with and like steal millions of dollars from insurance companies for pretending this guy was dead. And this is right before he became mayor. Like, he was running for mayor, like, as this whole story broke on the news and shit.
What?
Still ended up getting elected. I don't know. But then I've met Sylvester Turner in person before, and like one of the smartest guys in the room for sure. Like, when you meet him, like, look at you in the eyes, remembers your name, like everything, like real sharp. And so he's like really cool when I met him. But then behind the scenes, like, I heard everyone talking, and there's like all of this drama and like politics going on behind the scenes that you just don't hear. I'm like, damn. So it's super corruption,
Yeah.
like. But like, you would think, like, with any politician, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, there's gonna be corruption there, like, and that was just another thing that just confirmed it. Like, seeing it in real life, like seeing those things and like hearing those stories, like that you never hear about today. Like, the mayor of your city was a part of some scheme like back in the day, and then like there's still mayor today doing some sketchy shit. And there's a lot more to that
some
story.
money
but-
shit, right? And then there was he apparently like he created a fake position for some family friend, like an internship in the mayor's office. And
there you go. I mean, and
what
that's
the fuck?
just the tip of the iceberg of like the amount of stories that. Anyways, that's just, I was gonna throw that out there because I just learned that the other day.
Dude, that
pretty
is
funny.
crazy.
That is insane.
That is a weird tangent, but I mean, that is just like. And
now we know why Houston's the way it is, right?
I mean, yeah, and so that's something to think about in any city. You think about, man, why has this neighborhood been this way for 50 years? Why has these roads never been fixed? And you start to think and look a little bit deeper, and you're like, oh, where's the money going? Follow the money trail. And you're like, okay,
damn, that is so sad.
here's a reason why these people are being fucked over for X amount of years and all this shit.
Bro,
so it's
we
like,
suck. Humans suck. What the fuck?
But it's going on all around the world, though. You know what I mean? It's just like not
I know.
one place problem. It's really a human problem.
That's a human problem. We have a problem with greed and corruption and just being some shisty bastards. God damn.
All right, let's get back on the topic of
All right.
creativity and
Yeah,
design.
back on topic. So, what I was checking out your Instagram, and you had like some metal work, like you had some welding stuff on there. I saw you like we're doing some wood stuff on like a chair. What's your favorite material to work with? What do you enjoy working with the most?
Man, right now it's a little combination of both metal and wood.
Yeah.
I really want to get into wood lathing.
Yeah.
That takes some skill and practice.
Yeah.
And like, there's 50-year-olds out there, 60-year-olds that still haven't gotten down. They've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
What about it makes it
Like
that?
There's, first of all, you have the materials that you want to lathe with, and then it's actually like learning how to use the proper equipment and using the right tools for it. Like, it gets really down to nitty-gritty. Like, each material has a different property, right? And if you want to do certain things, like even if it's a leg of a chair, like you really want to be as detailed and accurate with it. And there's people that want to make it almost look like it came from the factory.
Hmm.
You know, and that's why it's like really, really difficult to master.
Sure.
you know?
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have any
Like,
projects?
there's people out there that get really, really good at it, and really they don't even have to sand the wood anymore
Yeah.
because it gets that.
I can't even
that's great.
imagine. That's insane.
Yeah. Are you
Wow.
working on anything right now like that?
Right now, just a little sculpture that I'm working on. Nothing really too intense, and just a little
Yeah.
combination of both wood and metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, you know, I know Houston is like mainly seen as a, you know, either a medical city or a oil and gas city. How's the design industry here in Houston?
Oh man, like it has a really good art scene, but it's a little bit like
Yeah.
on the low for sure.
Yeah.
You know, not that many people know about it, or it doesn't get mentioned out as
Yeah.
much. But it does exist. It's out there. The design scene, like I just feel like it has a potential
Yeah.
to really become the first, or if not like one of the greatest design like cities
Really?
for sure. Yeah. Because like I mean we have the medical center, and a lot of innovation comes from here.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like that's the case. Like we're
Yeah.
such an innovation-driven city.
yeah.
It seems like the groundwork would be there for us to be a great design city, you know. But I never hear people talking about us in that
No,
way.
they always want to
Yeah.
talk about Austin. Austin's
Yeah.
going to be the one.
Sure.
Because technology's from
Yeah.
there. But, you know, we can definitely do it here. And hopefully, you know, maybe that's something that gets created soon.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Just to start.
I mean, all it takes is like one crazy invention, you know, and
Yeah,
it
for
changes
sure.
everything. Man, what are some? Have you seen anything like any designs lately, or any inventions that are being talked about that have sparked your interest, or anything like that? Any, or like what field of stuff that's being designed right now interests you the most?
Like I said before, human-centered design is really
Yeah,
where my passion's at.
yeah,
It's not so. I wouldn't say so much design. Yeah, design, but anything that has to do with you know, bringing mobility back,
Mhm.
or you and I were talking about children the other day.
yeah.
You know, so me and a group of friends decided to start like our own startup called Sonata.
See, I wanted to like see if you wanted to go into it, but I definitely want to talk about your
for
startup
sure.
because you showed me a bit of it, and I thought it was super cool. I told you my mom works in early childhood
Mm-hmm.
education; she's a preschool teacher, so definitely, yeah, I want to hear all about Sonata. Tell us about it.
So yeah, it all started like when we were still in school, from like one of our business class. So it's like, okay, you know, how to deliver a pitch, how to like look for how to gather people.
Yeah.
You know, trying to bring them in, like you know, putting some skin in the game. Eventually, it just developed into something a little bigger, where we were a part of Red Labs, so at the University of Houston, like a partnership with U of H and Rice, and we're trying to create this product where essentially it's meant for children, so more on the educational side, and making sure that they are ready to like the next step in their life into like adolescence or like teenage years, and you know, further into adults. And what it is, it's like this little box, right? And it's meant to revolve around stimulating a child's like emotions and making sure that they're aware. So really it's like building this toy that incorporates sounds, so anything that has to do with like, okay, how do you feel today? Do you feel happy? Make a happy sound, make a sad sound, just to make sure that they're aware and how to express themselves.
Yeah.
And that's something that children don't really do today, mostly because parents just don't want to deal with it and just hand them a tablet.
Screen,
Just a
some
screen, yeah.
plastic thing with flashing
Yeah,
lights.
we've talked about that multiple times on here.
Yeah, especially with Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam's brother, Aaron, had a baby recently. She's actually about to turn 2
Oh,
in
wow.
like a week and a half. But they're raising her with like all Montessori stuff, like Montessori toys, which I don't know a lot about, but I think it's like really hands-on, mostly just like wooden stuff,
Right.
things that are like very tactile. No flashing lights, no
No
plastic
flashing light, yeah.
bullshit, no screens. So would you say Sonata falls into that like Montessori type
Montessori,
thing?
yeah.
Okay.
So right now the shell is made out of bamboo plywood. You know, it is very tactile. The buttons are made to have that feedback, in order for the child like to like because there's some children that grow up having SPD, which is sensory processing disorder. So they don't like the way certain things feel, certain things sound, certain things taste. So that kind of becomes a problem until like once they get older.
Sure.
Yeah.
It sticks with them. Yeah, I've like, adults that they like won't eat food that's like super common just because of like they associate a weird texture to it, or like a weird feeling to certain things.
Yeah,
and
I know people who won't eat oatmeal or grits or any kind of anything like that that's got like a mushy kind of
Right,
they just
right.
won't even touch it. They're like,
Yeah.
get that away from me.
It's very interesting. It's very weird. I guess I just attributed it to like people being weird in particular. I never thought of it as something that started all the way back from like early childhood. Yeah, and I guess it develops then. So, and then also it's interesting that you brought up a child's like emotional understanding and expressing emotions, because I feel like we're seeing a lot of kids now that have no idea how to express themselves, and it leads to, emotional hardships going forward, and that inability to express your emotions or to understand your emotions sticks with you down the line and really affects your life in a negative way. You just see kids fucking screaming in the grocery store. They have no idea like how to even express why they're screaming. They're just screaming because they have all this bottled up feeling. And then you have kids that never scream. You have kids that, so it's just so interesting to see like how kids exist on this emotional spectrum, and they have a different understanding of the way they feel, and some can communicate it better than others. Like Aaron was talking about how sometimes Autumn will just throw herself on the floor. Like she's got like so much going on, she doesn't know what to do with it, so she just fucking throws herself on the floor. And I feel like stuff like Sonata that can really help kids understand what those feelings are. It's going to serve them way down the line to help them understand those feelings and communicate those feelings. So it's really cool. And my mom has told me as a preschool teacher that she has seen kids from different cultures behave completely differently than other kids. Like they just seem like they're at completely different, they're at different points in their development process, even though they're the exact same age. But emotionally and cognitively and intellectually, they're just like on a different plane. And I think it all comes down to the way a lot of kids like, might be raised, or like the lack of certain things happening in the household. Or because, dude, I see these kids, and I don't know if this is as infuriating to you as it is to me, but like I used to work at the airport, and I would see so many kids at the airport waiting at the gate for a flight, and they're just sitting there with like a fucking tablet smushed in their face. My mom has told me that at her preschool sometimes kids are late because they don't want to get out of the van until their episode of fucking, I don't know, Yo Gabba Gabba or whatever the fuck is over. Like they're watching TV in the van, then they're going into a daycare center where there's fucking screens, Finding Nemo is on. Then they're riding home in the van with the TV on. Then they're coming home to a household where it's just the fucking TV.
Just imagine being a kid and just being bombarded with all that.
So much shit just being beamed into your head. Or kids just on a car ride with a tablet in the back seat. And it's like, what happened to just looking out the window and using your imagination, or engaging in a bit of a conversation with your parents or whatever. And now I've seen these videos of kids that don't even know how to like flip through the pages of a book, but they know how to swipe to apps and like play games on an iPad, but they can't function with a book. And that's terrifying. I mean, like when you see that stuff, do you think to yourself like, this is not good, like this is...
It's not healthy, especially for like a
it's not
developing
natural
mind.
either,
Absolutely not.
I mean, I can imagine like, you and I don't have kids, but I could see us like kind of like following Aaron in that same type of like parenting mindset of trying to stay away from all that stuff.
I mean, just even in our lives, even just the young adults or adults in general, we're all still trying to figure out what's a healthy amount, what's not. Like, am I doing this too much? Like, I'm constantly thinking like, man, am I watching too much TV? Am I looking at my screen too much? Like, and it's cool. There's some things where like you can see your screen times and things like that, but there's still like, I mean, you talk about a kid, adults don't even know how to like, what's the, you know what I mean? Like, there's still adults who are like a kid is watching an adult. If an adult's constantly on their phone or constantly on their TV, what is a kid going to do? They're obviously going to copy.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And kids like to mimic a lot.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, what did you say what sparked the idea of creating the toy?
Really, it was one of our classmates' past projects.
Okay.
Yeah, back when we were still in college, we had to do something with like that revolved around human-centered design. So his revolved around like music and sensory. Mine had to do with sensory processing disorder.
Okay.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, and so that's where it sparked. And then to make it compatible with kids, was the next step was thinking, okay, how can we apply these type of sensory type things?
Exactly.
Okay.
So like making it tactile with some knobs on the
Right.
side that change like pitch, volume, so certain things, almost like a little synthesizer.
That's
Yeah.
so fucking cool. Dude, that's so fucking cool.
have you got to see kids playing with it? Or what has been the response for people like who
So
have,
far, we're still in the developing stages,
Okay.
but we've gotten some pretty good feedback so
Okay,
far.
cool.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, like, after this, if you want to send us some pictures, we can totally put them on the video portion of the podcast so people can see it while we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, I think that's so cool. And like what you mentioned about kind of being self-reflective about like the way you're living in your own life, and am I doing too much of this, doing too much of that? Clarissa and I the other day, we realized how much we eat dinner in front of the TV. Like we make our dinner and we like take that shit and we just go sit at the coffee table in the living room and we like put on one of our shows and we eat dinner while we watch TV. And we recently got a new dining table. I showed it to you. We got it a few months ago. We've decided we're like, okay, half of the week, we're going to start with half the week, 3 or 4 days a week. We're going to sit and eat dinner at the dinner table with nothing on. Maybe music in the background, but no TV, you know? And like even that, it feels like kind of hard. It's like,
It feels weird, doesn't
but
it?
I want to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know? Like, you know, we want to like, it feels like, but I'm not watching my show. Like we could be watching the show, you know? And it's like, dude, you have to recognize that and break from it.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it. We've talked about getting like dumb phones on the show a bunch. Like Adam and I have talked about.
Dude, I just discovered a new one
Oh yeah.
that I want to check. I think it's called Punked Phone.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of
It
it.
has like
But it uses
like
the
actual
whole,
little
Yeah, it's
buttons on it,
actual
right?
buttons, but it
Well,
uses the
pull it up.
Signal.
Yeah.
It uses Signal app or
yeah.
you know Signal, right? Where it's like it's got really good privacy settings and stuff, so it's like no one can use your data and stuff like that. And so I'm thinking about getting it, but it's like $200-$300. Like I might as well just get a flip phone, dude.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not really too concerned with like data, especially because I don't really do much on my phone. But
Yeah.
still, like I don't know. I think it could be cool.
See, I think the thing is like, this is such a small little picture. I don't know. Well, that's definitely not it, but that looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's
No,
like
that's not.
that's a dune
That looks
phone.
like you take into the ocean or some shit.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
that's not it either.
No, this is it.
No,
This
no,
is
that's
on its
not
like
it.
yeah, because it's this.
Oh, that's it. Yeah,
Oh, that's
it.
the one?
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
that all this picture
Oh.
was it on its charging
Oh,
thing.
sorry, I didn't look. It looked weird.
Yeah, so I mean it's like this.
Yeah.
And you're saying it uses like a special network that's really secure or something?
Yeah, Signal. If no one's heard of it, definitely download Signal app if anyone hasn't used it before. But you can use it to text and communicate, and everything is super private.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
but you can still use. It still has like navigation. It still has some of the basic things that you would need. So
I still want fucking light phone.
I just don't want to spend $200-$300 on something like this. Like I would much rather get just a flip phone for
I know.
like $60.
Honestly, yes,
You know what I
You
mean?
can get
And
a
just-
you can get a smartphone for $300, a used one or whatever.
Right.
I mean, so it's just like the thing is that they're made by these small little companies,
Right.
and for them to make any fucking money, they have
Exactly.
to charge a lot.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
not like they're just mass fucking printing these phones out somewhere. You know, like you know, Samsung, just the phones are just coming off an assembly line built by someone who gets 8 cents an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
I won't talk about the light phone on the show anymore because it's starting to sound like we're fucking sponsored by
Yeah,
them. So
no.
I'll show you afterwards.
Okay.
But I'm obsessed with this phone. Anyway, yeah, flip phones. You could walk into your local phone store and probably get a flip phone for free.
$60 or yeah.
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
most.
40. I saw one on T-Mobile's website for like $40. And I mean, really, would it make life more complicated? Yes. Like as someone that works in an office and like needs to see my work emails.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
another thing we talk
We
about.
talked about that.
Well, like just the idea that society has made it like where we're integrating to where like if you want to live in our society now, you have to have a smartphone,
Right,
right?
right.
Like,
Dude,
if you want to get into a
especially
concert,
with the pandemic. Now
if you
where
want
it's
to pay
like,
for something, if you want to look at our menu, there's like so many things where like now it's like you have to have a
have to
smartphone
have
to
a phone.
operate in our society now, which is like no one's thinking about the repercussions of it. No one's thinking about how
I
could it
know.
affect us
Dude.
as a whole long term and stuff like that. So
I went to a Dynamo game not too long ago,
Yeah.
and it said this is exclusively an e-ticket event. No paper tickets will be accepted. You had to have a device
Oh.
to show your QR
That's
code
new.
to get into the game. I've been to a few movie theaters that were only doing QR tickets. And so it's like we're moving into this society where you cannot function unless you're a fucking android, unless you have this symbiotic relationship between yourself and a phone. I really want to get a dumb phone just because I'm starting to discover I think I have a self-control problem when it comes to technology. Like will constantly just default to looking at Instagram when I'm bored. Like, I'll scroll for a long time. I'll wake up and just like start scrolling. Or it's like the fucking last thing I do before I go to sleep. I lay in bed, I scroll for a bit, I wake up, I start scrolling. First thing I do in the morning, I walk the dog. Sometimes while I'm walking the dog, I'm like listening to a YouTube video in my headphones, like what car review can I listen to while I walk the dog? And I'm realizing now how much like content is just being constantly beamed into my head. And I feel like if I just said, fuck this, and like threw away my smartphone, and obviously like still keep it for emergencies or whatever, but if I just converted to where my main phone was a dumb phone, like a smartphone that could still text and still call and could maybe still offer navigation for times where I'm going somewhere I don't know where I'm going, I feel like it would improve my life. But I feel like, you know, are we getting to a point where it would make things too hard, you know?
Right.
I would also miss having a camera in my pocket. It's pretty great to just like be able to snap pictures of memories whenever you want, you know? Like there's times where I'm out at the dog park with my dog, and of course I don't need my phone to have a good time there, but then she does something fucking amazing and I'm like, I gotta take a picture of this shit, you know? And if I don't have that phone, that camera, I feel like I'm gonna be missing out on shit like that. But then maybe that's just an irrational fear of being without my phone telling me like, oh, find all these reasons you need your phone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's definitely probably what it is. But you think about like all the people that didn't have smartphones before, were they constantly thinking, oh, I need to take pictures, I need to text, I need to have internet?
No,
like no one knew they needed it because you didn't, right? Like you don't need it. No one needs it. It's purely luxury.
Yeah,
it's purely
luxury. Yeah, it's
right?
psychological too,
Yeah.
dude. Because like every
yeah.
time you're scrolling, you're getting new information or something. You're going across something new. You're getting that dopamine rush. You know?
And I think subconsciously, it really fucks with your brain. Like when you're scrolling through social media and Instagram, and you're seeing these influencers who are just like, "Hey, I'm in Dubai," or like whatever the fuck, and like all this stuff starts to like eat at you because you're sitting there in the car in traffic and like you're going to your job that maybe you don't really like that much, and you look at your bank account and it's not what you want it to be, and then you open your phone and you're seeing this dude who's like staying in Paris and he's fucking this model, and like, you know, you're just like, what the fuck? And I'm over here looking at my 1-3 fantasy team, and I'm like driving to my 2 jobs, and I'm like, fuck, you know, it just like eats at you, bro.
Don't worry, dude. Your fantasy team will be okay.
I hope so.
No, I think it's a great segue because it's something I thought about too a lot, was the relationship we have between creativity and like consumption. Like how often I think everyone should look at their life and be like, okay, how often am I consuming, and how often am I creating? Creating can be anything from like what Jesus does to art to making music to like doing even simple things like
like even you guys creating, you know, making
making a podcast.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this has been a great outlet. Yeah.
So yeah, how much creation can you bring into your life? Because I feel like that's a perfect like antidote to consuming, like especially in this consumption-based kind of world and society we're living in, where it's like, so there's so much shit being, you know, sold to you and all this stuff. So like how in your life do you think like creation just in general has like affected you, just like on kind of just your everyday life? Because I think about it too. It's like when I'm not creating, like I mentioned I like to do art, I like to play basketball. I think sports is a great way to like bring that kind of side out sometimes. But like when I'm doing things that are like creative to me, I just feel better. Like I just feel there's something happening in me that's like I'm feeling good. And versus the opposite where I'm doing other things, like obviously I'll enjoy a movie, I'll enjoy a show, like, and love it. But also I afterwards, like if you ever just sit with yourself and kind of like think, okay, how do I feel? Like, are you feeling
I think
like
that you're able to express how you're feeling in that moment.
Okay.
With, like, let's say if you're making music, you're gonna write some music based on how you feel in that very instant. Are you happy? You're gonna create like really cool, badass music. But if you're sad, you're gonna create something kind of, you know, dramatic, something powerful. You know, it's all based on how you feel. And I think there's got to be like a healthy balance between creating and then taking, like, you know, how much you're actually consuming. Yeah. You know, sometimes I don't even want to post stuff on Instagram because I'm thinking, am I doing it for me or am I doing it for other people?
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I think it's important to come to that realization. Not the other day, but a while ago, I was in a restaurant and I ordered something and it looked amazing, and I took a picture of it. I almost never do that, And I'm like looking at my phone after I just took a picture of
Yeah.
my fucking plate. And I literally, I think I even said it out loud. I literally said, what the fuck am I doing? And I like deleted it immediately. I was like, dude, I didn't even think about it at the time. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Taking a picture of my fucking plate to put it on my Instagram story with no caption, like just so that the 150 people that follow me can see my stupid steak or whatever the fuck it was. Like, why? Why are we even doing this, you know?
But if they like it, would you feel some way about it?
Yeah, when you look at it and like some people go, whoa, it looks good. Like, oh, you know, you get a few likes and you start going, all right, I feel good. You start going, everything is so gamified. These little
is.
stupid fucking sounds, ping, 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 like you start, oh shit, the likes are rolling in, you know?
Dude, okay, I just started Squid Game on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh
No,
my
I
god.
haven't.
Okay, don't go too far because
I'm not gonna say anything.
Okay,
I'm 2
okay.
episodes in. I watched
I'm not
episode
gonna
1 and 2. Okay.
spoiler or anything. But like, it's a great like thought because like there's if you've seen the first episode where he's like playing with that game that I've never seen before, where like you're throwing this thing down and trying to flip over.
First of all, that game looks fun as fuck. But
Yeah,
yes.
and he's like, and he gets slapped, and then by the end of it, when he finally wins, he forgets that he's even playing for money.
Right.
And it's that idea that it's
He's
that
just so obsessed with now slapping this other guy.
well, it's that idea like you get so consumed with the game and like the dopamine rush or whatever is happening in your brain or your
Right.
whatever's happening inside of you, where it's like you're so engaged in whatever that is, and that's become like our phones. Like that's become technology. Like it's become like everything becomes like, as you said, like a game, which is like a perfect way to look at it. It's like when you look at like all social media, it really is almost like a game. Like you're keeping track of like how many likes and stuff you get. Obviously, it's not for everybody. Like some people do use it purely for business or purely for whatever, but I would say majority probably do look at it as like this type of game or like this way. Like you forget why you're even doing it. Like you said, like you're taking a picture of your food and you just like, why am I doing this? And I feel like so many people forget why they're doing what they're doing, especially when it comes to like technology, because you're so engaged and you're so like focused in on all of those little sounds and sights and everything. And so it's really interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much of the show have you watched?
I'm the same as you, second episode.
So you watched the whole second episode?
Yeah.
Okay. How much have you seen?
Probably no, I haven't.
Well, I don't want to
haven't
spoil
seen
it for anyone who's
No, I'm
probably
not. I
listening.
just
and-
want to
okay,
mention
okay.
this one part in the
Yeah,
show.
Okay,
This is not a spoiler. So you've seen none of it?
none
Or
of it.
Do you plan on watching it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say this in a non-spoiler way. Okay, there's a point in the game where this is very early in the show. It's not a spoiler. And like people are not wanting to play and they're like, "Okay, if you don't want to play, that's fine, but look at what you could win." And they start like showing the amount of money
Right.
that like is possible to win. Like they just start funneling it into this golden piggy bank, and it starts like playing this like bring 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 like sound every time the money comes in it, and people are like, "Okay, well keep going." And it's
Yeah.
just like, dude, the gamification of how easy it is to like make a human mind long for like a certain rewarding sound or a rewarding color or rewarding.
You're saying this, and
Yeah.
Vegas comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know?
for sure,
dude,
dude.
you walk onto the casino floor in Vegas and everything is flashing lights.
It's the
and,
ultimate
like,
stimulation
Yeah.
for a human being.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
sound, and you know, it's like a fucking assault on the pleasure center of your brain. It really is.
Dude, yeah.
As soon as you get off the airplane, the airport in Las Vegas is slot machines and like you could be a winner. You know, it's
Yeah,
just like,
I remember leaving there and feeling so drained. Like, I don't know how people go there for vacation, because when I left, I felt like I needed to take a vacation, like get
Right,
away from
right.
like all sounds, like bright lights, like anything. I just needed to go get away from it all. That's how I felt.
Yeah, it's madness, dude. But I mean, and these social media companies and all these, you know, technology companies, they're aware of this and they're using it to their advantage. You know, they purposefully try to make this shit addicting as possible. Do you watch Black Mirror?
Yeah, a few episodes.
Have you seen the episode Smithereens? Have you seen Smithereens, the one where the guy, like, he's an Uber driver and he sits outside of that social media company waiting to pick up someone who works there so he can
And it
like,
kidnapped him.
Yeah.
And finally, you know, I won't like give you the whole meat and potatoes of the episode, but his main goal is he just wants to be put on the phone with the fucking CEO of the company,
Yeah.
so he can tell him about how the addictiveness of his app like ruined his life.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like the guy, like says, yes, we do this on purpose. Like we purposefully try to make the shit
Yeah.
as addicting as possible.
To think and to know that there are peoples whose job it is to literally figure out what's the best way I can make this app or whatever more addictive? How can I get
Yeah.
more people to look at it and stay on it longer? Like, that's people's job
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
Then you have to sit back and look, okay, what can I do to make sure I'm not getting caught up in these people's games and their schemes? Because like that's ultimately what it is. Like, it's like modern day like the snake oil salesmen or whatever,
Yeah.
like trying to sell you certain things that are like, that don't bring you any value to your life other than a couple pleasure, sensors
Yeah.
going off in your
Right.
brain. Like, it's not really doing much for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work at Topgolf when it first opened, the one here in Houston, right off of I-10 out in Katy. And they were like still building the building while we were getting our training in there. But all of the training revolved around how to get people in the door again, like how to get repeat customers and how to make them spend as much money as you could each time they came in. Little reward programs and like all sorts of like, you get this for free if you spend this much on food and alcohol while you're here or whatever, or get a free round when you do this. And it was just like everything that this business was teaching us to do was to get people to come in more and more and more, as many times as possible, and to get them to spend as much money as possible by using addictive techniques in the game. Or like the way we serve them, or the way the food and alcohol function and stuff like that. And it's just crazy to think that, as humans, there are just people sitting around figuring out like the programming of our brain and like how can we use this to like our greed and our profit and our stuff like that. So I think it's very important to be aware that this is happening. It's very important to be aware of like what you're consuming and what you're taking into your life and what you're expending energy and attention on, because most of the time there's somewhere you could cut out some bullshit. You can skim through some bullshit and live in a way that is more fulfilling and intellectually stimulating and less, cumbersome than the world of technology and media bombardment is,
Agreed.
And
I wanted to ask Jesus a question real quick.
Go for it.
Is there anyone who inspires you as far as designers, artists, anyone that you look up to and that, bring you inspiration?
Dieter Rams. Dieter Rams is a guy.
Dieter Rams.
Dieter?
Yeah.
Like D-E?
That's a crazy name. I'm going to look him up.
Dieter? D-E-T-E-R? Okay.
Yeah, if you just look it up.
So what does he do?
I'm pretty sure he passed away. I can't remember. But he was...
Dieter
Ram. Yeah.
This guy?
No,
This is Dieter Ramsey.
D-E...
Oh, shit.
At the end of that, you can just type in industrial designer. See what pops up.
Okay, so industrial design.
Yeah, or designer.
So what about
So-
him do you like?
Man, I really loved his 10 principles of design. Just talking about how it should be useful, how it should be elegant. Yeah, that's the guy.
Oh, this
Okay.
guy, his name is Dieter Rams.
Okay.
He's
Dieter Rams.
Unster German industrial designer and retired academic, closely associated with the consumer products company Braun. Oh, cool, dude. You worked for
Yeah.
Braun?
Yeah, you should. Yeah, those products are just elegant and beautiful, man.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they should all be useful. Like,
Yeah.
that's really the big takeaway from them, and that's why I really
Yeah.
love this stuff.
Still alive,
Like-
89 years old.
Oh, is he? Okay, good.
Okay, so it sounds like you like for things to be like to look cool and have a really nice design, but also just be as functional as possible.
Right. So this is like going back to the car things. Like, okay, yeah, they look nice, but are they safe? That's I'm always in that middle ground where like it needs to be functional and it needs to be like aesthetically pleasing. It can't be one or the other for me. Like it has to be either. Like, it
I
has to be
love that. I love
yeah.
that because I think very similarly. Like when I look at like just anything really like clothes, like kind of jewelry. Like that's why I don't really wear a lot of stuff because I'm like it's not really doing anything. I can't wear a watch. I have my phone. I can look at my clock.
Yeah.
Or like just little things like if I wanted to do something more than what meets the eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if you look at his stuff, even Apple tends to copy it at one point.
Yeah,
so,
this looks like maybe they've
Yeah.
copied him on the iPod.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Wow. Dude, so simplistic, so minimalist, but also
that's the thing,
super
like-
functional. Look at this, like, turntable.
He was like very, very minimal, like very minimalistic. It was
Yeah.
his style.
Wow.
And it was just beautiful, man.
Damn, he did furniture, too. Wow. Yeah, dude, that is amazing. Very cool.
It's like I want to try and do the same thing where
Yeah.
like it's simplistic, it's beautiful, it's elegant, but in the same same
Right.
grand scheme of things. Like it's useful. Like
Nice.
you and I could use it.
Right.
And that's where I'm at. Like these, I mean, I keep looking at these mics. I'm like, why are they designed this way? Why are they so big? Why are they so huge?
Right.
Like that's just to capture sound. Like that's what they're meant for.
Right.
And you have your smaller compact mics. You know, you can throw them in your pocket, but like, are they gonna be just as useful? Or are they gonna be just as good? And like these are really great mics for podcasts. You know, if you want to have if you're holding or having an interview, let's say downtown, like maybe you want a more direct mic, and that's why it needs to be thinner and longer. You know. It gets into it.
I mean, sound design and like the development of, you know, audio devices is something that's really interesting because there's so many different types of microphones, and there's, you know, different aesthetics for microphones that do the same job. Like maybe you want a condenser mic that looks like a you know, an old metal mic from the 50s, but you can also have, you know, the same level of sound quality out of a, you know, mic that's housed in plastic that has the same diaphragm on the inside. So really interesting. I don't know. The world of design is pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
really cool. I mean, you could really ask that question of anything. Like, why is this design like that? A lot of times we don't even question it. We're just living in this world, and all this shit is just being made for us, and we don't even, oftentimes we don't question why it is the way that it is. Could it be a different way? Is there a better way to do this? So maybe that's a lesson to take away from this is, you know, to be more inquisitive of like why things are the way they are and better ways that they could be. You know?
Agreed.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good note to end on.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
I'm down with that.
think?
That was a fun show.
Yeah. It was a fun show.
Is there anything else you wanted to? Any topics that you wanted to go on?
Or
Anything that
plug,
you?
or if you want to like
Yeah, I wanna
shout
throw
out
in a
a
little
link
plug.
to Sonata. Or,
Yeah. Shout out sonatatoys.com if you guys are interested.
Okay.
In looking at that.
Right.
Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, grca.design.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, I
Check out
definitely
some of my
recommend
work.
checking out his Instagram because I saw some really cool stuff on there.
Definitely some
One of the
cool
ones that stuck out to me, I think it was a recent post, was a toothbrush kind of design that you had.
Okay. Yeah.
Was that you? Did you design that?
The toothbrush design.
It was like it looked like a thing that had like a strap around. It went around your hand.
The
Looked like something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It looked
toothbrush,
interesting.
Right. So that one is a project that I'm just like revamping right now. It's
Okay.
a toothbrush meant for people with rheumatoid arthritis. You know, so
Wow.
maybe like exploring different types of bases, shapes and forms, and that's kind of
Nice, dude. That's
Yeah, it looked
fucking
really
sick.
interesting. I was like, "Whoa, that looks pretty cool. Never seen anything like that." So, it was, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed like your videos of your 3D printing. Like, dude, it's really cool. You don't think about how that shit works until you actually watch it, and then it's like, I'm just watching something
Dude,
materialize.
can you pull up the
Yeah.
video of the 3D printed houses real quick? Because I haven't seen them
yeah,
for a long time. I
probably.
think people would find it
Oh
fascinating.
yeah.
Sure.
Dude.
Let me mosey on over to the tubes.
This blew my mind when I first saw this, and I even tell people that today. I'm like, "Yo, y'all need to check out this
Yeah.
3D printing houses that they're doing." And they're like, "Nah, whatever. That's it's years away." I'm
Nah,
like, "No,
you
they're
can't
doing
do
this
it."
shit right now. It's crazy." Yeah.
I want to find like, oh,
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
you could
that's a
just
good one.
find a quick one.
here's an ad that we don't want to show. This is some fucking solar company. All right, I'm going full screen. Weren't they doing this in Austin?
I don't know where
Were
they've
they?
done it, but I'm sure they've done it all over the world now.
I know they've done a few of these like in Africa,
Yeah.
like South Africa.
I want to find the actual video of them doing it.
And it's crazier because they can actually use materials there without having
There
to
it goes, like that.
export or import anything.
Like, so it's layered, very similar to how
Mhm.
the 3D printing that Jesus has. It's like layered like that. You see that?
Bro. And it looks sick too.
Yeah.
And is that just concrete or what?
It's just probably a special type of material.
So some of them have like concrete, some of them have like special metals within them, so
Mhm.
just for structure and
Oh
support.
my god, dude.
Yeah.
It looks like it's building it so fast. I drove past the shell of a house yesterday, and it was just like so much fucking wood back and forth, and I'm just like, this is really what houses
Yeah.
are? Like at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of fucking wood. It just feels like in 2021 we would have a more advanced style
Yeah.
of building.
Well, we do. We're just showing it. I'm like, that's
Why isn't every house built like this? Why are we still
That's what I'm
building
saying.
Yeah.
entire neighborhoods out of like fucking wood? You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've also seen have y'all seen those earth homes, earth ships and stuff that people build like out of like completely reusable material,
Yeah.
like tires
yeah,
and
yeah.
glass
Yeah.
and like. It's amazing, but like
Yeah.
it's super sustainable, really cheap to do, and I mean, the way they build it can like hold like a ton of heat or cool air, whatever it is. Like, I mean, it's just there's so many different ways you can do things, and not just have everything be a cookie cutter way.
Yeah.
So,
Well, hopefully one day, by the time we're old, everyone is living in some dome-shaped house built into the side of a hill, Teletubby style, or the Shire from Lord of the Rings.
I hope so.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway,
Yeah,
guys,
we can end it on that. So.
Thanks for listening. As always, it's a pleasure to have you guys tuned into the show. Jesus, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
really
having me.
appreciated your
Oh,
time.
and it's
guys.
4:20 right now.
Oh, it's 4:20. Well, until next time, folks, smoke something good. Stimulate your creativity and question everything. Stay safe out there in the cosmos.
Peace.
Thank you.